You know, it is one of the most shocking mugshots we have ever seen from a drug roundup in Cumberland County back in 2015. Crystal Sturgill of Crossville, looking far older than 28 years old at the time of her arrest on felony narcotics charges. You know, we hadn't thought about that mugshot for a while, not until one of Crystal's friends reached out to us on Facebook, urging us to follow up, that Crystal had worked hard to change her life. So that's what we did. We found that Crystal Sturgill is truly beating the odds. You'd never recognize her in a million years.
Be nice.
Crystal Sturgill, now 32, looks like a typical mom hanging out with her daughter.
You already said yes.
I'm just kidding.
A far cry from August 2015. A crime alert for you tonight when we first learned about Crystal's involvement in a huge drug roundup in Cumberland County. Agencies like the TBI, DEA, and U.S. Marshals for this massive operation. 8 of the 16 suspects were arrested or served with warrants. Crystal's mugshot stood out from all the others.
I woke up to a bunch of cops in my house and guns in my face and, you know, the whole nine, and it was just, I didn't know what was going on.
She was just coming off a marathon of meth and pills.
That picture, I was up for like 20-something days. I was up for a long time, a very long time. Well, I don't really remember them taking the picture. I kept asking what I was being charged with, and they told me I was being indicted for selling drugs. I should be dead, really. I was living a lifestyle that was so unsafe, running from the cops and having guns and shooting at people. And I mean, I never shot anybody, but I didn't care. I was fearless and reckless, and I didn't care who I hurt or when I hurt them or if they hurt me. I didn't care.
Her downward spiral, Crystal says, gained speed when she miscarried twin boys during an abusive relationship in 2011. She was nearly 6 months pregnant. The babies are buried in a cemetery close to home.
I held them. They died, and we went on from there. But I was never the same after that. A very big part of my life was dead to me that day. I was suffering with such a bad depression after losing them like that, that when I did pills, I noticed that I would be nodded off and I wouldn't have to deal with life in general.
Crystal's daughter Alexis was 5 at the time, now 12. She's been through so much, including fallout from the mugshot she calls her mother's before picture.
I was bullied in school about her before picture because everybody was calling me a zombie since she looked exactly like me. And then it felt like about 4 days after that she'd come home, and she got to come home for a 4-day break, and she was sober. And I've never seen her so happy in her life.
Crystal spent some jail time on that felony narcotics charge, but part of her sentence included rehab at Adult and Teen Challenge USA in Louisiana. It's where she discovered a newfound faith in God and began to turn her life around.
All the girls in my pod were like, "What's happening to you? You're not cussing anymore. You're not trying to pick fights." And I'm reading the Bible, and they were like, "Who are you really? What's really going on?"
Crystal's efforts landed her a job. She spends most of her time carefully cleaning First United Methodist Church in Crossville, from the pulpit to the pews.
Lord, I just thank you, Lord, for her obedience, God, that she continually surrenders, Lord.
And begins many a day in prayer with her boss, co-owner of a cleaning company created for people like Crystal in recovery, trying to build new lives.
They needed employment, they needed a future, they needed hope, and we just felt the Lord leading us to open the company for that.
Crystal owns her past and is taking careful steps to ensure a good future for herself and her daughter. She just texted me this picture proudly showing her hard-won driver's license, overcoming one challenge at a time.
I never thought I'd be sitting here today, right now, with my life looking the way it looks.
She's made a full circle recovery.
And that cleaning company, what a great idea, and how many people they're helping rebuild their lives as well. This is an inspirational story.
Well, when you think about it, you have a felony on your record, you're unhireable.
Yeah.
So they're really giving them a chance, and Stuart Sitton, who co-owns the company, said there is something cathartic about cleaning. You know, a lot of different messages you can get there. A little bit about Crystal. She's one of 4 children removed by the state of Michigan from her family when she was little. She says both of her parents were on drugs. She and her brother were raised by her grandparents here in Tennessee. That's how she got here. She shares a home with her grandmother. We got to meet her, didn't want to be on camera. Alexis lives there too. The goal here is to get her own home.
It will happen.
I think so. I think so. She is strong. To see Crystal's story and for a link to information about the rehab center that helped her, just go to WATE.com. Look in the As Seen On section.